10 wild predictions for Fast and Furious 11. With Fast and Furious 11 set to be the final mainline entry, the film will undoubtedly be the biggest and boldest yet, creating all kinds of possibilities. The franchise has known almost no limits, as Fast and Furious' most over-the-top scenes have constantly defied belief and left audiences baffled, which is all part of its appeal. Even though the story sometimes leaves a little to be desired, the blockbuster film series rarely disappoints in terms of pure entertainment, as the death-defying stunts mixed with the characters' witty quips often create a memorable cinematic experience that gets people talking. Characters have faked their own deaths, driven through skyscrapers, and even sent their cars into space, showing almost anything can happen in a Fast and Furious movie. As a result, it's anyone's guess how the last movie will play, although a barbecue is all but guaranteed, meaning the final installment is bound to get wild. Therefore, predicting how Fast and Furious will end for certain characters, and which heroes will make unexpected returns has never been more relevant. And we've compiled a list of all the wild things that could happen in the franchise's swan song. Classic Fast and Furious characters join the final battle. Considering Fast and Furious 11 is being advertised as the final main movie, it feels like the perfect time to bring back some classic characters and pay homage to their legacy. The franchise has been producing movies for over 2 decades, making it no surprise some characters have been slightly forgotten over the years, but they should be brought back. Suki is one of Fast and Furious' most underrated characters, yet she only featured in one project, while Leon also had just a single appearance despite having a relatively large role in Fast and Furious' first film. Additionally, Monica seemed like the sort of big personality who could do well among the main crew, yet her only appearance after Too Fast, Too Furious was a small cameo in Fast 5's post-credit scene. Even Scene and Twinkie have been underutilized, only having one proper return in F9, since leading Tokyo Drift. Therefore, with the saga coming to a close, it seems likely that Fast and Furious 11 will bring back many of these familiar faces to aid Dom's crew in the movie's climax. Roman survives another life-threatening stunt. Having appeared in the majority of Fast and Furious 10 mainline movies, Roman has become one of the most iconic characters in the franchise, and seeing him defy death one more time seems possible in the next film. Alongside the many high-stakes chase scenes he's been a part of, Roman has survived plenty of shootouts and somehow avoided death during F9's minefield scene, making him either unbelievably durable or incredibly lucky. His last scene in Fast X saw him on board a plane that was shot down, yet he looks likely to return, leading to some theories that Roman Purse could be invincible. Given how much the writers seem to enjoy putting him in life-threatening situations, it's not a wild assumption that he'll once again cheat death and escape the final movie with his life, no matter how much the odds are stacked against him. Mr. Nobody and the agency turn on Dom's crew. Although Mr. Nobody has been a recurring ally to Dom and his crew in recent movies, Fast and Furious 11 might just change that. His absence in Fast X suggested that he could really be dead after his plane was shot down in the previous outing. However, it remains a possibility that he's working from the shadows. In addition, Ames turned on the group in Fast X, meaning the agency can't fully be trusted despite having some seemingly loyal members to the protagonists, including Mr. Nobody's daughter, Tess. Still, the reveal that the agency has been evil all along and is now working against Dom and his crew could be an exciting subplot that would make the hero's journey even more difficult in the final film. Despite his seemingly good intentions, Mr. Nobody has always used Dom's crew to aid the agency, not the other way around, meaning the shocking discovery that he is secretly a villain and is even working against his own daughter would be a fascinating twist that Fast and Furious 11 may just pull off. Fast and Furious 11 will tease Dom's son as the next protagonist. Alongside Brian O'Connor, Dominic Toretto has been the franchise's leading character since its inception and has become the sole lead in recent films. But Fast and Furious 11 presents the perfect opportunity to pass the torch. Vin Diesel's Dom Toretto has changed a lot throughout Fast and Furious, but having a child has easily impacted him more than anything, and his love for cars and the outlaw lifestyle already seems to be rubbing off on Little B. Working on cars is one thing, but Little B watched his uncle die and was caught up in the explosion at the end of Fast X, indicating he is bound to follow in his father's footsteps. He's unlikely to have anything more than a minor role when it comes to actually taking down Dante, but Fast and Furious 11 could still have Little B do something ridiculous before giving him a line during the closing moments that hints at him starting his own crew one day. Cipher sacrifices herself for her former enemies. Fast and Furious has a habit of turning its antagonists into heroes, and Cipher seems to be joining the list since her redemption arc started in Fast X. Unfortunately, it won't be fully complete until she helps save the crew, and sacrificing herself would be the perfect way to do so. Cipher became one of Fast and Furious' best villains after her involvement in the fate of the Furious and F9, but with Dante, Ames, and potentially more antagonists already established heading into the final outing, her presence as a redeemed hero seems fitting. Her showdown with Letty in Fast X has already set up the two working together alongside the returning Gizzle, but saving either one of them from certain death would help her character come full circle. With Fast and Furious 11 supposedly ending the main narrative, it feels inevitable there will be some major deaths, with Cipher's departure being the most logical. She is a big enough character for her death to make a big impact without hurting the main crew, and losing her life to save a former enemy would give her a satisfying send-off. Dante Reyes kills Luke Hobbs. With Dwayne Johnson returning to Fast and Furious after his Vin Diesel feud, he will undoubtedly play a massive role in the main story's final chapter. His mysterious phone call at the end of Fast X hinted at a personal rivalry with Dante, and his upcoming spin-off cements Hobbs as one of the franchise's biggest characters. Despite this, his death remains a possibility in Fast and Furious 11, and it may come at the hands of Dante Reyes. Assuming there is a personal beef between the two characters, Hobbs may go against Dom and his crew's plans in order to take matters into his own hands. Sadly, this could backfire massively and cost the hero his life, especially as the antagonist has already proven to be pretty cunning. Hobbs' solo movie looks likely to take place before F and F11 in the timeline, and although losing him would be a massive blow for future spin-offs, it would really amplify the final showdown, proving how menacing Dante truly is. Han proposes to Gizzle during a high-stakes mission. The Rock wasn't the only big star to make his comeback in Fast X, as Gal Gadot's Fast and Furious return set up her exciting reunion with Han. Both characters likely believe the other is dead, meaning an emotional scene between the two is on the cards. However, beyond them simply rekindling their romance, a proposal could also happen, and if it does, there's no doubt it will happen in the least conventional way possible. Han's laid-back attitude and Gizzle's love for danger means an engagement could happen during some high-stakes action, even potentially during the final confrontation with Dante. Having the couple driving for their lives while simultaneously getting engaged would be a great way to honor the unorthodox nature of their relationship. And considering they are two of the most likely characters to survive Fast and Furious 11, it would set up a deserved happy ending for the duo. Returning from the dead isn't unheard of in the Fast and Furious universe, and given the last mainline movie will want as many big names as possible, I think John Cena may return as Jacob Toretto. His introduction in F9 saw him face off against his own brother, but like many of the franchise's other villains, he eventually found redemption. Unfortunately, Jacob's very next appearance seemed to be his last, as he sacrificed himself in a grisly explosion during Fast X's crescendo. While his 2025 plans with the WWE make Cena's Fast and Furious 11 return as Jacob less likely, it would feel strange to have such a big star feature in just 2 movies. Yet another character faking their death may feel tiresome, but given it's supposedly the last movie, the story has to go out with a bang, and Cena's presence would help. Therefore, Jacob showing up against the odds to help save the group could still happen, and it wouldn't come as a major surprise, despite how wild it would be. Fast and Furious 11 isn't the final main movie. Although Fast and Furious 11 will allegedly end the movie franchise, I'm still not completely convinced. Ahead of Fast X, it was announced that the series would be ending with essentially a 2-part story, with Fast and Furious 11 scheduled to be the second part. Diesel proceeded to confirm on social media that it would be the finale, yet the actor himself is the one who continues to throw doubt over whether it really is the saga's conclusion. He has since hinted at a 12th movie, and even if Fast and Furious 11 does finish things up for now, there's nothing to guarantee that Universal won't push for a return in the future. While the saga's only spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw, was a box office success, it didn't quite compare to the franchise's most successful entries. And with Fast and Furious still being a financial giant, the prospects of another installment are too great to rule out F and F11 teasing a sequel. Dominic Toretto dies in the final showdown. Vin Diesel has been at the front and center of the cinematic series for more than 2 decades, but despite his importance to the franchise, Dom's death in the closing film does seem on the cards. The actor has only missed 2 mainline entries and has even adopted a producer role in recent films, proving how crucial he is to Fast and Furious. However, Dom's journey has well and truly reached its end, and the final film could close the book on his story for good. Having Dom sacrifice himself for his son, Letty, or the entire group is the perfect end to decades of heroism. He has always jumped in front of danger and put his life on the line to save others, but assuming he isn't invincible, his actions have to catch up with him at some point. Therefore, I think Dom Toretto dying in Fast and Furious 11 is a realistic possibility, and it would be the best way for the franchise to properly move on while offering a clean slate for whatever comes next.